today I'm going to talk about the reasoning and logic behind different arm exercises and how that's going to add mass to your biceps. So now we're going to get a little bit into the anatomy of things. And there's a principle we have called length-tension relationships. And what that means is the muscle that has the most tension within it, or is the tightest, has the most load. And I use my analogy. If I have sort of two bands here, how close are we? And I add a load, but one of the bands is loose and one band's really tight. When I pull, which one's going to do more work? It's going to be the tight one because it's in a position to take load. And we can apply that principle to any of our exercises, and today we're going to apply that to biceps. So when we're looking at the anatomy of the bicep, we have the short head on the outside, the long head on the inside. The long head actually inserts further back up onto the scapula, okay? And what that means is the further I pull my arm back behind my body, the more stretch the long head gets. And vice versa. The closer I bring that towards my ear, the more relaxed the long head gets. So if I'm trying to hit the short head of my bicep, what I want to do is try and relax the long head of my bicep and vice versa. So an example of an exercise that's going to emphasize the short head of my bicep is something like a high to low cable curl. The only thing where I'm getting my bicep into sort of this region here. So a way to execute this, get down on one leg, relax the hands so we're not using too much of our forearm. I'm just going to try and bring this cable behind my head, okay? And you should actually feel a full shortening here because we're really going to emphasize the short head of the bicep. So that's how we can emphasize that, and I'll talk a bit more about programming in a second. Something like a decline curl or any exercise where we bring the arm behind the body is actually going to increase the stretch on the long head, and therefore because it's tighter it will have more tension. So a good example of an exercise that does that is the incline bicep curl, and from here, because my arm's behind my body, I'm stretching the muscle and then I can curl from there, okay? So I'm using some massive weights to get some big results here, but that's how you would actually bring emphasis to the long head. The third muscle I mentioned in that intro video is the brachialis, and to isolate that, we can truly never isolate any of these, but to bring more emphasis on the brachialis, we have to think about the third function of the bicep. And when I move my hand, see that my bicep actually balls up, we call this supination. So if I want to relax my bicep, I actually go into pronation, which means then I can get a better emphasis on my brachialis, okay? So an example of that would be a reverse curl, which also uses a bit more forearm. So that's some of the reasoning behind why we train our arms differently, and I'll put in a bit of a sample program how you can incorporate that into your training. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, like, subscribe, and make some gains.